It's now time for the morning show on XL7-TV.
Welcome to the morning show. Good morning. How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing real good.
By the way.
Whoop, whoop.
There you go.
I'm David Stroud. This is Scooter Scott Callies.
Good morning, Gigi.
Good morning.
I have to say that because I've missed a couple, and I feel sorry for that.
But think you missed it on Tuesday, too. So.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. So, Gigi, good morning. How are you? Hopefully you have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Yes, and I think it's going to be a rainy day. You remember how we were talking on Tuesday? You know, we would look at the forecast on the day of because I'd be back Thursday.
Yes.
Well, we'll wait until the weather.
Oh, I see how you are. So how was your day off from the show yesterday?
It was good.
Did you get a sleep in?
No.
You don't sleep in on days you're not coming in here?
Well, I do and I don't. I do when Carla gets up to feed the farm, pretty much, the
Gotcha.
3 dogs and a cat. But normally I get up to feed them, so I mean it's not sleeping in per se when you got to get up at 5:30 to feed them all. And then I get to go back to bed and lay down, and sometimes I fall back to sleep till about 7:30. Sometimes I don't.
My wife has to feed the dog. He is not getting up at 3:30.
Oh, right.
He is not getting out of that bed. He sleeps in the bed with us down at the foot of the bed. And it's funny because every morning, right before I leave, after I get dressed, everything's done, I go and check my wife's alarm, make sure it's set, and then I give her a kiss goodbye.
Yeah.
Usually on the forehead because most of the time she's still out. So.
Yeah.
And then the dog is ready. He starts rolling over with his eyes closed. He's like, all right, loving time.
Right.
So I got to go and give him some love before I leave.
Right
and he'll just be rolling there, just waiting, just, I know it's coming. But he ain't getting up.
No. All of mine just want the food. I mean, I can pet them on the head. As soon as I set that food bowl down, they could care less I'm standing there. So, yeah, they're ready to eat.
So my wife does the feeding mainly because she sleeps in on me. So
it's understandable. I can relate to not wanting to get up at 3:30 to eat.
I get it.
Yeah, I get it.
I get it. Every now and then he'll get up and have to go outside for a minute, but he's usually pretty good.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Very
but he
good.
likes his loving in the morning. He wants his kisses before I have to go to work. And you'll watch him. He'll be sound asleep and just start turning. He knows I'm over there by Amanda. He knows what's coming next.
Hey, buddy.
He's funny.
Don't you leave without saying goodbye.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta love animals like that, especially dogs. You know, the cat wants that too. I wake up and the cat is laying between my legs, and Dallas isn't there to be petted and say hello. Dallas is like, it's time to eat. He's the instigator, and then Aspen, the big German Shepherd, she'll come and jump on the bed, and then I'm like, all right, and I'll just roll out and do it. But sometimes I take them covers and I just put them over my head, and it works. They leave me alone. They see them covers over the head.
If I'm sleeping in, my dog he'll actually lay down and start creeping up real slowly. And you can feel his face as he'll put right here, just watching your eyes. And if you don't flinch, he'll eventually curl back down and you'll hear him sigh.
Dang it.
But if you flinch, it's over.
Yeah.
He'll start crawling on you.
Yeah.
But he's really patient about it.
Yeah.
Give him a lot of credit.
Isn't that something how they will sigh?
Oh, yeah.
Aspen will do that.
Yeah, he'll have that
sigh.
disgusted little...
Like, fine.
Whatever.
Be that way. I'm sure you all have some good animal stories. You could tell us. You could on our Facebook app at XL7-TV.
We could talk about your favorite animal story.
Yeah, your favorite animal story. Go ahead.
I like that.
Don't be shy.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. You also need to send in, because one of these days coming up, we're going to have a show that is not got any guests.
Right.
We're going to just talk about topics and things and just kind of...
What in the world?
What in the world. And we need you viewers to post in stuff that you'd like to see us talk about.
Mm-hmm. And we will or won't, depending on the topic.
Yes.
So.
Exactly.
All right. We better start the show.
Okay.
Hey, did we start the show at 7 notes? Yeah.
Let's see. I got it on TV, so I guess we're live.
Okay. Broller Funeral Home, with all our respect. They have 29 in the state, 1 in Memphis, Tennessee. We sure do appreciate them in our time of need when we lose a loved one. And we'll pause now for the morning prayer. Dear Lord, please watch out for this country. It's a prayer that I say over and over again, and I think it needs to be said. bring us back to the Lord, bring us back to Jesus. It's something that we are better for and act right when we have the fear of God in us. Please watch over our children, our first responders, and our military, those that put themselves in harm's way. And just watch over me, my family, watch over Scott and his family, and all of your families. And this I pray, amen.
Amen.
Roller Funeral Home, with all our respect, you can give them a call at 870-425-2161 and ask them about pre-need service. It's always good to have a plan in place, and that way your family will be taken care of. It's very stressful, very somber moment, and they want to help you at Roller Funeral Home have everything in place so you don't have to worry about that.
They truly want to make a difference. They want to make a hard time a little bit easier.
Definitely. Yep. And with that, let's go ahead and pause for Bob and Linda Zadora of the Z Team.
Well, folks, have you been trout fishing before?
Not since I was a little kid.
You'll do fine.
Hey, what are you doing?
Aren't you coming along?
See you downriver.
How do you start this motor? I've never been in a boat before.
See you downriver.
Well, folks, have you sold a house before?
Yeah, about 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you'll be okay then.
You sure?
Where are you going?
See you at the closing.
Hey!
At the closing.
We should call the Z Team.
We're back in the Z Team, Bob and Linda Zadora. We sure do enjoy showing you that commercial every day. And it's like I always say, they will not leave you hanging.
They won't?
No.
No.
They're not going to just throw you out there.
They're
going to take care of you.
They know what to explain to you. They know what to tell you that's coming up so that you're not shocked and you know every step. And they're just great with making sure that you're informed with everything that's going on.
Exactly.
And they're really, really good about taking all the headaches out of it.
Yeah, because who wants the headache? That's why you hire a real estate.
Yes. They're used to the
team.
headaches. To them, it's not a headache. They do it every day. So.
Exactly. Yeah, it's their passion.
Yep.
It really is. I mean, they're really passionate about what they do.
They are. They want to help you make this change in your life and it to be a positive change in your life. They're the type that 2-3 years down the road, they run into you at Walmart. They want you, hey, this is our realtor. Come up, shake their hand. They don't want anybody upset with the decision they made, stuff like that. And they do their best to make sure you know every in and out to prevent that.
Yep. That's exactly right. So give the Z Team a call, 870-405-0793 if you're looking to buy or sell a home. And maybe it's time to downsize. They are senior real estate specialists. You need to downsize something more manageable. Maybe even move out of state to back with family. That's okay. They'll help you find a realtor in the area that you're moving to that's like-minded, that will take care of you when you get there. So with that, let's take a look at the White River, brought to you by the Z Team, Bob and Linda Zadora. Oh my goodness, does that look even fuller? Is that the correct word?
It is a. I mean, the river's full. It's got water running. That's for darn sure.
Definitely. That is Collar, Arkansas, the horseshoe bend of the White River, and they've been opening up them floodgates now for more than a couple of weeks, trying to keep that level of the lake balanced out. And you can definitely tell. Look at that river. It is.
Well, they know the springtime's coming. More rain will be coming, and they've got to get the lakes down.
That's true. They got to get it down before it raises up again. And I just hope that it doesn't flood out the camping areas again. You know, I'd sure like to camp in our area, and I'd like people to come to this area and be able to go to Robinson Point and it not be half covered.
Yep.
Or Cranfield, where the road is covered and you can't even get out to it. You know?
I agree.
I don't live very far away from it, but when I'm done with my tiny camper, I'd like to be able to go down there.
How are you coming on the tiny camper, by the way?
I've got to find the outer shell. We're going to make it wood, maybe cedar planks.
Oh, there you go.
So I found a couple places to buy it. I'm just trying to find somewhere to buy it a little bit cheaper. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
Got to get some windows, the AC unit. I mean, we've got some things, but it's in the dry at least. Build a door for the back. Do the finishing touches, as you would say, but the structure is built.
Awesome.
The structure is built. So, anyway, Bob and Linda Zadora of the Z Team will take care of you looking to buy or sell a home. Go to retiredarkansas.net, where you can find their listings. They also have all the MLS listings. They are licensed in Arkansas and Missouri. And so, like I said, if you can find something across the border, maybe in Gainesville, they can help you out with that as well. You can just give them a call, 870-405-0793. And look at that beautiful river. I need to get on the river, too. We just bought new yaks.
Did you?
Yes, went to Dunham's. And I'm going to give a shout-out to Dunham's. Man, I love that store. It is really awesome in there. And they had them on sale.
Ooh.
I mean, we saved $300 on 2 kayaks because they had them on sale.
Kayaks aren't cheap either.
No, huh? But these are nice, wide, 30... Shoot, I can't. It's 32 or 34 inch wide, 11.6 long, and they have the seat that sits on top. You know, the Sun Dolphin that I had before, you sit. It's not a sit inside, but you sit on it. There's not a chair that sits on top of it, to where it's easier to get in and out of the boat. Oh, it's gonna be wonderful because we yak a lot.
That's cool.
And I finally, I'm cheap. That's why I bought the Walmart cheapies. But Carla's had hers for 10 years, well before we even got together. I bought mine and an extra one 3 years ago. So I've had 3 summers of, after a while in those, your back starts to hurt and you're ready to get off. But these other ones that have a seat that sits on top that fold up, an actual back, and you can adjust where the back sits, where it sits straight up and down, or you can lean back. Oh, Scooter, I'm just so...
You're ready.
I'm ready. I'm excited. And that river looks enticing. Even though it's up high, and you probably should be in a riverboat, it looks enticing.
You'll be fine.
Right. Well, I hope so. Only a couple more months. I think we're going to have an early spring. What do you think?
I'm hoping.
Yeah. It just seems like it. We got them too bad snow and ice.
We don't have anything going on here, but from what I'm hearing, Springfield may see some snow on Friday.
Yeah, they can have it.
I mean, it won't go this far, though, so I think
good.
we're going to have a little bit of rain, but that's about it.
I don't want it. Anyway, thank you, Bob and Linda Zadora of the Z Team, for these beautiful views of the White River. You can go to retiredarkansas.net and find these 24/7. Like tonight, there's supposed to be lightning storm, 100% chance.
Yep.
Thunderstorm, and so go check it out. That wide angle still shot is really cool when there's lightning. That one there, oh my goodness.
Lights up.
It lights up. You've got to check it out. If you remember, sometimes I forget. I don't, that happens. But go to retiredarkansas.net. It's really easy to navigate. They revamped it last year. You can find it up there at the top right, and just click on it, and you'll find 2 videos. The top one will be well, if you're looking on your phone, which most
top
times I'm on
one
my
is
phone.
usually this one. And
it's
then
this one, and and the bottom ones that it'll move around different areas.
This one here.
Yeah, really cool when it goes to the train yard and there's a train there. Who doesn't love trains? And I love that you guys focused it on the train yard, so you can watch one pass through if you get the timing right. So, anyway, Bob and Linda Zadora. Give them a call, 870-405-0793. Like I said, they're senior real estate specialists looking to downsize your home, and that happens. Scooter's talked about that. His son is going to be graduating high school. It's time to downsize.
Yep.
Move out of that big, what'd you say, 3,500? 4,500 square foot home into something a little bit more manageable. Who wants to clean all that?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm with you.
And you got all these rooms you're not using. You're just going to shut the door. Might as well just downsize. And if you do, call Bob and Linda Zadora. They can help you out with that. They'll sell your home and help you find another and help you in the process of buying a new one. Well, I guess it's time to look at the weather, don't you think?
Yeah, we're almost 7:15.
I did it again. I'm so good at this.
He's a talker. He's talking and he can't stop.
So good at this. All right. Wait. Nope. Keep showing them the White River.
Oh, no.
Refreshing. I'm going to get that radar one of these days. I've only been doing this almost a year. Best weatherman ever.
There you go.
But then when I'm wrong, it's the weather.com's fault. All right. Mountain Home 47, Harrison 45, Batesville 54, Yellville 48, Marshall 48, Salem 44, Mountain View 54, Calico Rock 47, West Plains at 44, Springfield, Missouri at 41, Poplar Bluff at 52, and St. Louis at 35. Excuse me. So St. Louis is the winner. they're the coldest this morning, and they can have it. I'm ready for some warm weather. National Weather Radar, you can see some heavy activity in the south. Well, there it comes right there. So about 1 o'clock, you can see this starting to form. And let's not worry about the rest. Let's just zoom in here. So this is running south, but let's get this right there. Is it gonna? No, it didn't let me. I'm trying to, there we go. It starts to form. And I show you this because later tonight, there's 100% chance, we were talking Tuesday, will it change, Scooter, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to jump back and forth here. So here it is today, 20 to 80% slight chance of thunderstorms, then thunderstorms. I love when they read like that. But tonight, heavy rain, 100% and breezy. The only thing that did change from Thursday was it said windy. Now it's breezy. So, but there'll be a flood watch throughout the night. Be very careful. There is going to be heavy rain tonight. Then
in Friday, it does go back to windy.
Yes, it does go back to windy. Friday, 80% chance of thunderstorms, then mostly cloudy. Friday night, partly cloudy, low of 34. Saturday, it'll be sunny, high of 61. Saturday night, mostly clear, low of 39. Sunday, sunny, high of 66. And Sunday night, mostly clear, low of 50.
So we got some cooler nights, but nothing low enough to cause any issues, so we'll be fine.
No, I think we're going to be fine. I think early spring. Early spring, the groundhog don't know what he's talking about. So watches and warnings, you can see that we've got high wind watch throughout all of Arkansas and flood watch in northwest Arkansas and southern Missouri. And that could creep into our area just because it's showing just a watch now in those areas. It could push. You never know. Tonight is going to be a 100% chance of heavy rain. And as we say, if you come to a low water bridge and it looks flooded, be safe and turn around. I've tried to go through one and destroyed my truck.
Really?
Luckily, we got out, but the water came up over the top of the hood. Well, the air intake is right there at the grill. So it sucked water right into that air intake. Norfolk Lake water level, 553.64. Level is 1.64 feet above full pool. They're generating 1. Bull Shoals Lake water level is at 659.30. Level is 0.30 feet above full pool, and they are generating 4. And that is a look at your weather.
Want to go ahead and just cover that, and then we can go straight in commercial?
We can.
Our guest, it sounds like, just walked in.
Yeah, because this is next week. It's on Tuesday, March 7th. Mountain Home High School French Club will have their chili supper to raise funds for their summer 2024 trip to Quebec. That's French-speaking Canada. And that'll be from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Mountain Home High School cafeteria. $5 for a bowl of chili in a to-go container. You can order by contacting Christy Lawrence at clawrence@mhbombers.com or purchasing a ticket from a French Club student. So this is finally going to happen. I don't think there'll be any problems.
I think there was, is there a sheet over there on the Master Gardener one, or did he keep that?
This here, Master Gardener.
Yeah.
Developing.
They came in yesterday.
Oh, okay. Developing an Ozarks Green Thumb. Saturday, March 18th from 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at the First United Methodist Church Fellowship Center at 605 West 6th Street, Mountain Home, Arkansas. Featured speaker, Joe Lampel, Joe Gardner, A Garden to Weather Any Storm. Daria McKelvey, supervisor at Kemp Center for Home Gardening at the Missouri Botanical Garden. Let's see, Ray Morans, Grazing Lands Pollinator Ecologist with Xerix Society and partner biologist for USDA NRCS. Jeff Quick at North Central Arkansas Food Bank. And Guy Ames Orchid and Nursery. Events include horticulture table, opportunity table of garden theme items, and MG projects display. Snacks and drinks are provided throughout the day. Seminar cost is $35, includes lunch. Limited seating. Registration began last month. Let's see, to register, go to baxtercountymg.com/spring-seminar.html. Then send the completed registration form, name, address, phone, email, and registration fee to Catherine Gilmore at 275 Sharon Drive, Mountain Home, Arkansas, 72653.
All right.
That was a mouthful.
That was easy for him to say.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. How are you, Sheriff?
Awesome.
That's who's our guest, so we're going to take a break and come back and visit with Sheriff John Montgomery.
Be right back.
It's a matter of taste, and at Brick Oven Pizza Company in Mountain Home, delicious taste is all you will find. Enjoy signature crafted pizzas and appetizers, as well as oven-baked sandwiches, quesadillas, salads, pastas, and desserts. When it comes time to relax or meet up with friends, Brick Oven Pizza has you covered. Handmade cocktails and ice-cold beer are always available at their fully stocked bar. No time to dine in? No problem. Call in your order and use Brick Oven's convenient drive-thru window for all your to-go orders. It's a matter of taste at Brick Oven Pizza Company in Mountain Home.
Have you ever noticed every time you wash your car, you end up wetter than the actual car? Next time, run down to Car Care and let the friendly staff put a smile on your face. Car Care of Mountain Home has a variety of services to clean your vehicle's needs, inside and out. From a simple wash and shine to their outstanding detail services. Located 1525 Highway 62 East in Mountain Home. Stop by Car Care Mountain Home today, because driving a clean car always makes you feel good.
At Connor Family Funeral Home, our goal is to provide our friends and neighbors with caring, compassionate services at an affordable price. Connor Family is a full-service funeral home that offers a wide range of services to meet your family's needs and customs. We are the first on-site crematory in the area and provide many options to memorialize your loved ones and address all the details for a more personalized service. Where compassion and affordability meet, Connor Family Funeral Home in Mountain Home.
When you think about Hospice of the Ozarks, it's our desire that you think about finding a way to live your life to the fullest while living with a serious illness. If you ever need help and support, we provide a team of healthcare professionals and volunteers that will support your physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects of life while doing the same for your family and caregivers in the comfort of your own home or wherever you call home. When you think about Hospice of the Ozarks, we hope that you grant us permission to walk on the journey with you. Your not-for-profit option since 1979.
When you're out of town, make sure your pet is with someone who will love them as much as you do. At 201 Pet Salon and Resort, your pet is cared for just as they would be at home. 201 Pet Salon and Resort is the only all-suite climate-controlled and air-filtered boarding facility in the area with private and spacious rooms to keep your pet relaxed. And with over 3/4 of an acre of fenced play area, your pet will receive the proper exercise they deserve. 201 also offers professional grooming services. Your best friend is in good hands at 201 Pet Salon and Resort in Mountain Home.
All you've ever wanted was a place to write your story. You hear it's not the right time to buy or sell a house, but really, the best time is when it's right for you. The real estate markets, they change, they go up, they go down. One thing that doesn't change is where you want to be in your life. The professionals you team up with will make your story happen. The Z Team are the professionals you need to hire for your next chapter. So call the Z Team at 870-405-0793, Century 21 Lemac Realty, 1024 Highway 62 East, retiredtoarkansas.net.
Are you looking for the best barbecue in 2 states?
Holy smokes!
Want the meatiest fall-off-the-bone ribs?
Holy smokes!
The most tender and delicious pulled pork?
Holy smokes!
The tastiest brisket in the Ozarks?
Holy smokes!
Holy Smokes Barbecue and Catering is the only place you need to go. Dine in, carry out, and the best food for your next catered event.
Holy smokes!
We're your mountain home for great barbecue cooking.
Holy smokes!
A higher calling for your taste buds.
We're back. Welcome to the morning show. We're visiting with Sheriff John Montgomery here in Baxter County. How are you, sir?
Well, everything's good. I'm dragging just a little bit. Had to make a trip to Little Rock and back yesterday. I hate that drive down, and then when you have to come back the same day, a little bit of jet lag, but a good day. So the Criminal Justice Institute does training classes for law enforcement all over the state, and for I don't know, several years now. I teach a segment, or I really call it more of a lecture about professionalism and law enforcement and how to deal with the media and things like that. And that's about a 3-hour block. So went down and that I do that once a year for them. I do that same lecture for the Sheriff's Association, but that's one I do for the Criminal Justice Institute. And had a great class, and you know, a lot of new folks, because we had 30 new sheriffs that was elected and took over this year in January.
Yeah.
And so I think there was 3 brand new chief deputies and some high-ranking, you know, some of the new sheriffs, and so it was good. And then drove back home and a little bit jet lagged. So. Life's good.
You usually come up 65. How do you like to drive down
well,
there?
When I lived, of course, I live in Cotter now, but when I lived in Mountain Home, I don't like what I call the 14 drive where you go down through Yellville.
No.
But I would always go down 5 South through Mountain View and Cabot. But when I moved to Cotter, it's actually it's a lot closer for me to go down to Yellville and 14 and either 14 to Harriet and over to Marshall, or go down through 235. And in fact, it's funny. Someone said, "Well, which do you take, 235 or 14?" I said, "It all depends on the car in front of me."
That makes sense. I think they're a half dozen one or the other. I mean,
it's 7.
Until you get to Marshall, you're going to be windy.
Yeah. So because it's actually 7 minutes farther going 235.
Yeah.
But you do have to go through the city of Marshall. So city, not town. So it probably averages out pretty close to the same. But usually, you know, whichever the car in front of me, whichever way it goes, I go the other. So and that
makes sense.
It depends on what I'm driving. If I go South 14, it's I'm in a Mustang. If I'm in my F-150, I go 235.
Yeah,
but a lot of times, if I'm coming in if I want to come in on the east side of Little Rock, I'll go the way of Batesville.
Right.
I'll go down through Melbourne, Calico, and
And that's the only real bad spot. You got about 35 miles there until you get to Marshall, and then you get on 65. And it's not bad.
No.
Yeah, because from Botkenburg south now is all 4 and 5 lane. So
yeah, not bad at all. Well, a couple of months ago, you back in January, went to the Sheriff's Association in Little Rock, and Governor Sanders spoke about criminal justice reform. And there's been, I was reading articles, been a lot of back and forth on what she said, but I think you really enjoyed what she said, that she's looking to expand the prisons, give us more beds, and she's tired of the repeat offenders, looking to serve their sentence. Holding criminals accountable with a place to put them, I think, is the main thing. But what are your thoughts on what she had said?
Well, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the legislation, but I testified in front of a legislative committee, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and so I sit down at the table and I'm recognized, and so I looked up and looked up at the chairman and I said, "Mr. Chairman, I'm going to do my best today not to talk about repeat offenders." And everybody, all the representatives started laughing because that's what that's a beaten drum, and they know every time. Yeah. So saying that, this is not something new, talking about repeat offenders. If you remember, before the jail expansion done, we kept talking about repeat offenders and how many times. And if you look on our website, it tells you how many times they've been booked in our jail. And I think that was an eye-opener to a lot of folks. And they go, "Oh, my gosh." In fact, on a side note, the chief deputy from Washington County was in that class yesterday, and he said that right before the sheriff retired, he added that feature to his website so they can show how many times they've been in there. And he said to the public, just like, wow, they just don't get it until they see it. So having said all that, Governor Sanders had met, even during her campaign, she had met with the sheriffs and a couple of times with our executive board talking about, criminal justice and problems we were having and so on and so forth. So I will first tell you, without trying to be negative to any former governor, but I've heard the same rhetoric. Yeah, we're going to do something. So during the sheriff's, during the Sheriff's Association meeting, she was a speaker at one of the luncheons, and so she talks about, expanding the prisons and some truth in sentencing, and stop letting so many people out so quick on parole, just on an automatic, and dealing with the repeat offenders and keeping them locked up, and so on and so forth. So when it was over, and again, this is not something new. I've heard this. Yeah. I mean, I've heard the same thing year after year after year. So when it was over, one of her staff members that I know very well, I walked up to him and I said, for the first time in the 18 years I've been sheriff, I actually believe something's about to happen.
Yes.
And he said, obviously you're the audience and she's talking to you, but this is not the speech that she just says in public. When we meet behind closed doors, she is talking about prison reform. She's talking about expanding the prison. She's talking about holding the criminal accountable. So this is not something she just says in public. This is what's being discussed behind, behind closed doors, if you will, and with our staff. And so, yes, I'm very excited that I think finally, and again, she said, and I totally believe it, we didn't get here overnight. We're not going to fix it overnight.
Well, sure, it's going to take time.
And so one of the things that to me is important, and so you've got what I call the extreme, well, I'm going to say extreme right, extreme left. And to me, you take that 10% of the extreme right and the 10% extreme left, they're so radical in their beliefs that it makes it difficult. I think the 80% in the middle can get things done.
Sure.
Okay? And I think that's true in Congress and...
The problem is that they're the loudest.
They're the loudest. So, having said that, you've got one side that says we got to lock everybody up, and if you screw up, you get locked up, and you need to stay locked up and do your time. Okay, and you got the other side that says, oh, well, we can rehabilitate you, and we can, we'll turn you into a good member of society. Well, that's 80% in the middle. There's something that can be said for both sides. Now, this is my belief, and it's not just something, I've been talking about this even when I would testify in front of the legislature in Little Rock, and I've said this over and over. I think, and this is my opinion, but if you take those people early on that mess up, screw up, and that's really, those minor offenses, that's what district court's for, okay? The misdemeanors. That's where if the sanctions are held and you hold them accountable and show them there's going to be consequences to their action, hopefully there's going to be a large percentage of those that will go, okay, I get it, and they will not continue to commit crimes.
I think it would.
Okay, and so, but if you don't, then the sanctions get a little bit more strict.
Sure.
Okay, so in drugs, there's no question has caused a tremendous problem for society and families and everything. So to me, we need to do everything we can, and that means put money into it to help those early on. Those that have messed up, help them. What's the problem? If it's a substance use problem, let's help them. Let's and I'm not talking about sending them to a 30-day rehab program, because those that seem to be the experts that know a lot more than me will tell you that's not going to get it.
Sure.
It's got to be a long-term commitment, because it's tough for those folks. So spend the time and effort and money to help them. If it's job skills, let's get them into trade schools. If it's maybe they're having issues with finances just because they don't know how to budget, okay, let's do what we can to help those. But,
yeah,
and there's the but.
It's the other end of the spectrum.
The problem is, if you think about it, and I use this analogy a lot, and I think it's true. And I'll get off my soapbox if you want me to anytime. Just tell me. But they're like children. If you take a child, and you even take a teacher that's got a classroom, you've got some in the classroom that misbehave, and you have to watch them constantly. Now, the vast majority of them, if you watch them and you hold them accountable and you call them out when they do, they'll behave, okay? And you've got others that you never have a problem with. Well, that's to me is like society. We've got the vast majority of people that obey the law. They don't create problems. You've got some others that every once in a while you've got to put some sort of punishment to. And it's like a child. And when you take a child, to me, that discipline escalates, okay? Sometimes, I can tell you, I'm from the old school. I've been whipped by my mom and dad both.
So was
okay? But typically, that look, start us out, will solve the problem. And then if it doesn't, then there's something else. And then by the time I get to the whipping, I've earned the whipping.
You've earned it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You've taken it too far.
So in this case, that's what needs to happen. So I had a big discussion in a room full of people with a senator that we were talking about making people serve a vast majority of their time when they get sent to prison multiple times. So, because right now, the way it is currently, if you get a 6-year sentence, you will probably, in prison, you'll probably do 6 months.
Yeah, and that's a problem.
Okay, well, if that's your first time down, if that's your first time, because you got to work pretty hard to go to prison.
Right.
So if you've screwed up and you finally get sentenced to prison, you would hope that if you serve 6 months and you got out, and remember, if you get out, you're getting out early on parole. We're going to let you out early, and the idea behind it, the idea behind it is you've been a model prisoner while you've been here in prison. You've taken certain classes, maybe they're anger management, whatever the case may be. And so when you get out, here's a set of rules you need to follow. Well, if you don't follow those rules, there's got to be consequences. Mm-hmm. Now, we hold misdemeanors, felons, whatever in our jail. But the vast, and I mean more than half of the sheriffs in Arkansas, their jails are so full of inmates waiting to go to the state prison system, they don't even hold misdemeanors. So now all of a sudden there's no sanctions. So again, early on, when you hope that you can stop that behavior pattern early on, there can't even be a sanction. To me, that all leads back to what we're talking about, the prison overcrowding. If you don't have the ability to sanction those that don't follow the rules, then there's no incentive to follow the rules.
Sure. Yeah, we spoke about that the last time.
And so, I got a call from someone that said, "Hey, do you realize, whatever the man's name is up for parole?" And I said, "Yeah." And said, "Well, you realize he's been down 9 times, and he's been in only, I think it was 90 days.
Yeah.
This time.
Like 2% of his sentences.
Well, because and so most people, and we did a poll on our website a long time ago that said, okay, so if someone got sentenced to whatever it was, 10 years in prison, and they get out early, and they mess up and get sent back to prison, how long do you think they'll serve when they go back? The number was like 90% of the people said, well, they'll serve the rest of the 10 years.
And you're like, no.
They'll serve 90 days.
Yeah.
That's it. So to me, now, so going back to what Governor Sanders is talking about, and Lieutenant Tim Griffin, Lieutenant Governor, so they're talking about prison reform, sentence reforms, where, again, let's do some work on the front end. As I said, look, now I don't know that we'll get 3,500 beds built. I mean, that's a big number.
I'm hearing 2,200.
So, but whatever that number is, wouldn't it be nice if we put all these programs in place that we're talking about, that for drug rehab and job skills and whatever, but you still got to have a place to put them to sanction them when they don't behave.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice in, say, 10 years when all of these other programs are starting to work, we actually had some empty beds?
Exactly. And that's what you're looking to.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, that's what you're looking to do. That's exactly what. You can't not expand the prisons. And there's people that are talking about do these social factors first, don't expand the prisons. But it's like you said, these people aren't serving their term, so they're not feeling the consequences, so they're repeat offending.
Yeah, it ain't working.
You can
look at the repeat offenders, just even here in Baxter County, just look at the numbers. It's not working.
Yeah.
If you're not being held accountable.
To me, it takes both. You got to have both.
You got to have both.
And so you've got to have a way to sanction those people that don't obey the law. Now, one of my frustrations is because back, it's called Act 570, which I talk about a lot, which is created, in my opinion, was the worst piece of legislation ever passed for law enforcement. But what happened was that at that time, there were, I think it was earlier this week, there was 1,900 backed up in the county jails waiting to go to prison. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, back when Act 570 happened, there was a little over 3,000. And the sheriffs were we're dying on the vine all across the state. So we were pushing to get another prison built. And so they passed Act 570, which was a prison reform bill to help alleviate the backup. You know how they did it?
No.
We're going to reduce the penalty for every drug offense and every theft offense. And we're going to put things in place that keeps you from sending somebody to prison. Okay? You got to have this. They've created this chart that says, well, unless you are here, you can't send somebody to prison.
Yeah. So like this criminal act is no big deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so then, on top of that, they put in place some what I call automatic parole. There are several offenses that the parole board has no choice but to let you out. It doesn't make any difference. And an example is that recently there was one that was up for parole, and I called a member on the parole board and I said, I've written a letter and I'm objecting to this person being released. Okay, and I don't do that a lot.
Sure.
Okay, and so he called me back and he said, well, we don't have a choice. And I said, what do you mean? He said, it's one of the auto parole. They're going to get out. We can't stop it. And I said, but did you look at their disciplinary? They've got 2 pages of disciplines since they've been in prison. If they can't behave in prison, you think they're going to behave out here? And now you're going to put them back out on the street, come back to Baxter County to wreak havoc on the citizens again.
Yeah.
And then they'll have 90 days.
Yeah.
And they'll be back.
And they'll be back.
That's just ridiculous.
Okay, I know. I'll climb down.
We'll go ahead. No, it's okay. We got to take a break, though. It's about 7:42. We'll be back with Sheriff John Montgomery.
Jim Brown Company keeps you cool when it's hot and warm when it's not. A trusted name in the mountain home community, Jim Brown Company provides timely heating and cooling installation and repairs. Our certified technicians incorporate new technology on every job to provide you with the most advanced services. At our metal fabrication shop, we handle projects big and small. We've created everything from commercial ducts to custom designs.
I'd recommend Jim Brown Company to my friends and neighbors. The reason being they have high-tech equipment, their service techs are well qualified for the job that they do, and they also send me a report after all the work is done so I know exactly what my unit's doing.
By visiting our showroom, you can learn all about our heating and cooling products. We'll educate you on your options and help you decide on the right solution. For total comfort at your home or business, choose Jim Brown Company. Quality service with a family name since 1964.
Diatley Dental Care is a family-owned dental practice. Doctors Irvin and Christina Diatley grew up in the Twin Lakes area and are proud to serve the community. With modern treatment methods and state-of-the-art technology, they are dedicated to providing exemplary care to patients of all ages. Our compassionate team consistently receives training above and beyond the standard of care.
We're changing the way you see dentistry.
Come be a part of our dental family.
Overhead Door, a garage door company that has been with your family from the beginning, through all the ups and downs of life. From the small repairs to making your vision a reality. Overhead Door, your trusted garage door expert since 1921. Be sure you're getting the genuine, the original overhead door service.
Call Overhead Door Company of North Arkansas today in Mountain Home.
Well, folks, have you been trout fishing before?
Not since I was a little kid.
You'll do fine.
Hey, what are you doing?
Aren't you coming along?
See you downriver.
How do you start this motor? I've never been in a boat before.
See you downriver.
Well, folks, have you sold a house before?
Yeah, about 30 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, well, you'll be okay then.
You sure?
Where are you going?
See you at the closing.
Hey!
At the closing.
We should have called the Z-Team.
It's a matter of
Welcome back to the morning show on XL7-TV. Our guest is Sheriff John Montgomery here in Baxter County. We always appreciate you coming on. We're talking about criminal justice reform, and that you feel like Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders is actually going to do something about it.
Well, again, it's not, to me, I didn't get the sense of, you're just telling us what you want to hear.
Yeah.
And I think, and again, we'd had some meetings with her prior to her election. I really feel like something positive is going to happen, and it won't get fixed overnight.
No.
But you've got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And you've got to start.
And it'll be all aspects. I had this on my phone. It's because Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, one of her main priorities is criminal justice reform, but it's bringing out opposition, and I think it's because all they're hearing is that she wants to add more beds to the prison system, and it's like you were discussing, these people are getting out so fast because there's not enough beds, and there's got to be consequences for your actions, especially if you're a repeat offender. And so they're talking about they don't want any more beds at all. They just want to invest in sobering centers, crisis stabilization units, helping families before expanding prisons. But that's all well and good, and is something that she's talking about doing, is something that you've talked about doing, is trying to help these people before they become repeat offenders.
But you have to do both.
You have to do both, and that's the point that I was getting to. Is it's like you said, extreme left, extreme right. No, we got to bring it back to the center. You've got to do both. You can't just. These people have repeated some. I think one time you were in here, you said like 78 times. This person they're beyond reform. They must be in prison for their full term. Maybe that will get them to change their mind. I don't know. But
well, at least they're not wreaking havoc on the people in this community while they're in prison.
Right. Yeah. And that's why we need it. Now, I was reading an article that maybe Pulaski County will be expanding their prison.
You're talking about their local jail?
Yeah.
Well, they need to. They haven't held a misdemeanor in the Pulaski County Jail, and I don't think since I've been sheriff. I mean, 18 plus years. I mean, they're packed, they're full. So, want to just for the audience, and I think we talked about it a long time ago. I want to tell quickly how the process works. So, if you have committed a felony and you go in front of the judge, and whether you go to trial or a plea bargain or whatever, and the judge sentences that person to prison, okay, for X many length of time. So what happens is, in a perfect world, they would get right then the judge would sign the paperwork. Paperwork would be handed to a deputy to load that person up in a van, and they would drive to the prison.
Yeah.
And say, here's the guy who was just sentenced today to prison, here's the paperwork. Well, there's no beds open. So what happens is they now go to, they bring back to my jail.
Sure, yeah.
And we're going to hold them until the prison calls and says, okay, we have a bed open. You can now bring him or her down.
Sure.
Okay? So that creates lots of issues. Number one, that person may have been sitting in my jail for a year prior to taking that plea.
Yeah.
Okay. And so now that they've been sentenced to prison, we're going to hold them again. And right now, the average wait time for once they're sentenced to prison until we actually get to take them is between 100 and 120 days.
Yeah.
So that's almost 4 months I now have to hold them before. And they get credit for prison time for the time that they were in the jail.
Sure.
Okay. So once they call, they say, we've got a bed open. We load them up, take them down. Now, how do you think they get a bed open?
They release somebody.
They release somebody.
It's full.
Well, it's
sure.
full.
Yeah.
So during that time where they've been sentenced to prison and they've not, but they're not gone yet, I'm holding them. They call that county jail backup. All right. So that's, in other words, the prisoners are backed up in the county jail waiting to go.
Right.
And like I mentioned a while ago, I think that number earlier this week was a little over 1,900 for the state.
Yeah.
So that's, the pressure is on to get them kicked out. Now, from a sheriff's standpoint, in fact, this will segue into a piece of legislation we worked on that I want to briefly talk about. Okay. So from a sheriff's standpoint, it's expensive, all right? So, because we're having to provide not only the housing and the meal and the clothing, but we also have to provide all the medical for the inmates. So here is what the state's done. It says, okay, since you're holding our prisoner, you're holding them, we're going to reimburse you for your effort of holding them.
So you get something.
So the average cost a day, and again, this is kind of average across, is a little over $60 a day is what it takes to house an inmate.
Yeah.
So the state reimburses us $40.
So you're still at 20.
We're still at 20. So I've had to provide all the
medical.
Huh?
Not including medical.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Medical gets added.
Now, so here's the interesting part, and this is where it segues into. So what the law says, and has been on the books for a long time, that says the state's going to pay us that $40, and they're going to pay for their medical. Now, once they've been sentenced to prison, the state's going to pay for their medical, and they're going to pay us $40 out of the $60, right? If the correct paperwork has been filed with the prison in 21 days from the date of sentencing.
Okay.
Now, before Act 570, we didn't have a problem because the sentencing order was about a page and a half. After Act 570, it's probably 10 pages long.
Wow.
Okay? And so there's all these little check boxes, and if it's not, this one's not checked,
it's not perfect.
It's not perfect.
Denied. Yeah.
And it's denied. So what we discovered last fall, we knew we had a problem, and it pops up from time to time. And what we discovered last fall, and we discovered it here in Baxter County, this is not an isolated case. And so when we got, excuse me, we researched the state of Arkansas and said how many other counties out there have got inmates that they're holding that didn't get the paperwork on in 21 days.
Yeah.
Because we don't get paid.
Yeah. Now you're footing the bill.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so we're already going in a hole, but now we're going to go the whole thing. So it was bad. So working with the Association of Arkansas Counties, one of their attorneys, we drafted a piece of draft legislation, actually got with the attorneys with the Department of Correction. The Department of Correction didn't care to pay us.
Sure.
They just weren't allowed to legally.
Because of a checkbox sometimes.
Right. Okay. So we drafted a piece of legislation, and we presented it to the Senate. Senator Hickey from South Arkansas ran the bill for us. We went through a Senate committee, and then through the full Senate, and then we went down to the House committee, and then through the full House, and it passed.
Very good.
And the governor signed it on Monday. So it is law, which will take effect July 1, the beginning of their fiscal year. What it does is get rid of the 21 days.
Okay.
Now, let me tell you, they did an impact study. What's it going to cost? Okay, what's it going to cost the state? But in theory, what are the counties going to get now?
Yeah.
$4.7 million we were losing is what they estimate.
Yeah.
Because the paperwork wasn't getting filed within 21 days.
Right, and that's a dent in your budget to do other things.
Huge. So we're excited, and in fact, it was I will just say refreshing. I went down and testified in front of the House committee, and lots of questions, good questions. I mean, and of course you've got Republicans and Democrats and whatever. And when it was over, several, and it passed unanimous.
Yeah.
Several came up to me and said, "This is a good bill.
Right.
This makes sense." Because it's not the sheriff's fault. I mean, that the paperwork's not correct.
Right.
We have nothing to do with the paperwork.
Yeah. Well, that's excellent. You need more of that.
So that's a piece of legislation that we're excited that's going to have an impact.
Oh, definitely.
So.
Yeah. I was wondering, how do you recoup that funds, or you just end up taking it out of something else? When you're having to pay for them inmates, you're going to have to slash your budget somewhere else to pay for it because you're not being reimbursed.
Well, you're right, and so that's what every jail that's in the state is having that same issue.
Yeah, and not anymore.
Well,
when it takes effect,
it's going to make an impact. It still doesn't solve all the issues,
no,
but at least you're going to get reimbursed for part of what it costs to house an inmate.
Yeah, that's a start. I'll take a start. instead of kicking the can down the road like has been, and I'm not trying to say anything bad about previous governors either, but have we been kicking the can down the road now?
We've been kicking the can down the road for a long time.
Yeah. So, and doing something is better than nothing, even if you got opposition saying we don't need this. Well, they're not in the position, I think, to know. They're not in your position to know. They're not seeing you let somebody go that should be in jail, you know? And that's the biggest problem that we have right now is every time you come on, we talk about repeat offenders. I can't believe some of them have been in and out so many times. Anyway, it looks like something will be done. I'm glad we have Sarah Huckabee Sanders. I think she's going to be a great governor. I like that she's on the side of law enforcement. She knows that y'all need somebody on your side with everything that's going on in the country. So it's good we have a governor that will be.
Well, I think she sees, and we talk about this, if take here in Baxter County, we want to attract people, we want to attract businesses, we want to attract, so are you going to get that attraction if the crime rate is awful? If you're scared to walk down the street, if you're scared to go to the store, if robberies are happening right and left, the answer is no. Why would I want to come here? Okay. Yeah. And so it is important. It is important for economic growth. It's important for quality of life. And so, again, crime has an extreme negative effect on all aspects of us.
Right.
In our society and our communities. And I think she realizes that. Yeah. She wants Arkansas to grow. She wants, economic growth. Well, we've got to get a handle on the crime.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree. Treatment programs, mental health, that's all important too. But the other aspect, and we've said it, numerous times on here now, that there's got to be consequences for their actions, and right now there aren't any. They're being let out, and they know it. They know that they're not going to have to serve their full term. They get back out, do it again, because they know they're not serving the full term. So adding the beds, hopefully that's sooner than later to be a deterrent to some of these that haven't offended so much that maybe, like I said, have only done it 1 or 2 times. They end up serving their full term and think, I'm not doing that again.
Exactly.
So, but there are things that we can be doing to try to keep some of these kids from going down that bad path in the beginning. And that's going to take time because you set up a plan for, maybe some, I don't know, places that they can go if family life is not good, or counselors they can go and talk to when things aren't good to try to help them. But then you've got to staff that. You've got to find those people that will want to be in that position. And that's going to take time. So it's like I said, it's not going to happen overnight. But it looks like maybe something will happen in the next few years, and Arkansas will change dramatically because of it.
I think so. Again, like I said, for the first time in my 18 years as sheriff, I really feel like something positive is going to come out of this. I really do.
That's
awesome. And so it's not. I just don't feel it's the same old. Tell me what I want to hear.
Exactly.
So. I know we really only have about a minute and
a half.
58 seconds left. But real quick, talking about how they don't want to, if they've served their full time, they don't, hopefully it'll get their attention.
Yeah.
Back in 2000, I think it was 15, we lobbied and got the legislature to add residential burglary to the list of violent crimes. Okay, not a commercial burglary, but residential. They break in your home. So if you commit the same offense, okay, so in other words, you committed residential burglary, were convicted, now you committed again.
Yeah.
The second time, you have to serve all your sentence.
Okay.
So we had a gentleman that was being interviewed, and so he was actually currently in prison and came back and said, hey, you're being interviewed on a situation, and so we said, you've been convicted of residential burglary, and he immediately goes, and I can't do it again. I know. He already knew. So the point of it is, there is a push to try to do away with that, by the way. They want to take residential burglary.
Really?
You know why?
No.
Prisons are crowded. Okay? So to me, if they break into your home, that's your castle.
Yes.
Okay? That, to me, changes things.
It does.
Yes.
For me,
That's
too.
your safe place. That should
And
be your...
you get, we got like 10 seconds, but you get those people that say, your stuff is more important than that criminal.
Yes.
Yes, it is. To me, it is more important. Thank you for coming on, Sheriff.
You bet, absolutely.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for watching. We'll see y'all tomorrow for Sports with Bob Rechtenwald and This Week in Real Estate with Bob Zadora.